Yeah, you're most welcome. David7sansitheatre@gmail.com. You can contact us. Yeah, memory part 1. More parts are coming, more videos are there. Subscribe, like, and share our videos. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share our videos. Subscribe for more and better videos. Our channel has it all about science. Alright, students, share to your fellows. Let's start with classification of memory. Physiologically, on the basis of how the memory or how the information is stored and recorded, memory can be classified as implicit or explicit. That is physiologically. Depending upon permanence of storage, memory is either short-term or what you can call primary, which lasts for seconds to hours. It can be intermediate long-term, what we call secondary, and this lasts for days to weeks, but is eventually lost. Then it can be long-term or tertiary memory, which once stored can be recalled years after or years later for a lifetime. That is long-term. Right. Let's talk about implicit. We said this was a classification on the basis of physiology of the memory. All right. So if we talk about implicit memory, this is also referred to as reflexive or non-declarative memory. It is the information about how to perform something. It does not depend directly on conscious processes, nor does recall require a conscious search of memory. This one does not require consciousness, this implicit form of memory, whereas we shall see explicit requires consciousness. This builds up slowly through repetition over many trials and is expressed primarily in performance, not in words. Alright. Examples of implicit memory. We have motor skills, habits, and behavior reflexes. These are learned a long time. Learning of certain types of procedures and rules which, once acquired, become unconscious and automatic. You can see when you're putting an example, you should take consider of that it is unconscious and automatic after a given period of time. Okay? So the forms of implicit memory, most forms are acquired through different forms of reflexive learning, which comprise of non-associative learning, which was habituation and is sensitization. Habituation and sensitization, both are non-associative forms. Then we have associative learning, which includes classical conditioning and operant conditioning. Okay, let's continue. The brain region is for implicit memory. Memory acquired through fear conditioning, which has an emotional component, is thought to involve the amygdala. This is part of the limbic system. Memory acquired through operant conditioning requires the striatum and cerebellum. Alright? And the memory acquired through classical conditioning, sensitization, and habituation involves changes in the sensory and motor systems involved in the learning. So these are the three brain regions: amygdala, striatum, and cerebellum, and maybe sensory and motor systems of the brain. Alright. That is being implicit memory. So let's talk about explicit memory. We say this one requires consciousness. This is also termed as declarative or recognition memory. It is the factual knowledge of people, places, things, and what these facts mean. This is recorded by deliberate conscious effort. Explicit memory is highly flexible and involves the association of multiple bits and pieces of information, in contrast to implicit memory, which is more rigid. Recall implicit is learned through repetition, so once you acquire it, it will become rigid and hard to change, but this is flexible, explicit. Memory. Explicit memory can be semantic memory or memory of facts or factual memory, or it can be episodic memory, a memory for events and personal experience. That is explicit memory. And semantic memory is stored in a distributed fashion in different association cortices. For example, if I just speak the word alarm clock, it will retrieve information about the visual memory, reminding us about its shape, needles depicting hours, minutes and seconds, and markings for the 12-hour clock, etc. So that is what you can, if I just talk about alarm clock, the visual memory. The visual association centers are responsible for reminding us about the shape, the shape, the markings of the 12-hour clock, what you saw. Now, the auditory memory will remind us about its sound, the ringing of the alarm. And the somatosensory memory will remind us about it is made of plastic or metallic box or having a smooth or transparent glass. All this will be collected to form what we call semantic memory. Just the word alarm clock. Alright. So damage to a specific cortical area leads to loss of specific information and therefore a fragmentation of knowledge as exemplified. We have what we call associative visual agnosia. This results from damage of posterior parietal cortex. In it, the patient cannot name but can identify objects by selecting the correct drawing and can faithfully reproduce detailed drawings of the object. In associative visual agnosia, damage of posterior parietal cortex. The patient can't name but can identify. Appreciative visual agnosia. This is due to damage of occipital lobes and surrounding region. In it, the patient are unable to draw objects, but they can name them if appropriate perpetual cues are given. Alright, so you should take note of associative visual and appreciative. Appreciative occipital lobes. Patients are unable to draw but can name. Alright, if you give a cue. So, let's talk about episodic. That was semantic. Now, episodic memory or autobiographical memory. Episodic memory refers to a memory of events or personal experiences. For example, we use episodic memory when we recall that last Sunday I visited my friend's house in UK. Alright? So, what is the brain region for explicit memory? Episodic memory is stored in association areas of prefrontal cortex. These prefrontal areas work with other areas of the neocortex to allow recollection where a past event occurred. Stored in association areas of the prefrontal cortex. They work with other areas of neocortex to allow recollection of when and where the past event occurred. Alright, therefore, a particularly striking symptom in patients with frontal lobe damage is source of amnesia. It tends to forget how information was acquired. That is what we call amnesia, source amnesia. Tendency to forget how the information was acquired, source amnesia. Okay, so you can find part 2, the mechanism, physiological and cellular or molecular basis of memory, in the next video. If you watch memory part 2, it's there. That has been just the introduction of memory, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for other students to also enjoy the videos. David 7 Science Theater